Well, they're all marked up. So now I have to get down in here and buck these logs. There's more than a few. So I've got myself an evening worth of work to do. And I did not bring my stand because I did not plan on videoing any of this. But this is a perfect job for play saws. You know, I'm not under the pressure for time or nothing. I'm not seeing any X's. If there's X's, that means they don't want them, right? If there's no marks and they're goofy looking, that's pretty fair that they're not going to want them. But, these down here are actually pretty big. I don't know if it shows in the camera, but 22, 24 inch range. That one being a little smaller. But like up there, it's all twisted. Let me see with a knot. You can see where the X's are. That's where they don't want. I'm a little surprised at taking that one, although it was really solid. But we'll see. So my guess is, like, for example, here, I figure anything above there is gone. It's not worth. Oh, no, there's a mark up here. So I'll revise that. That means that, well, that stuff is probably not going to be worth trying to save. So I'm going to turn that to firewood. Same with this over here. I think I'm going to turn that to firewood. Let me first measure it. If it's 16 foot, I'll leave it alone because it might be a mat. You know. Yeah, this is firewood. So I got one of the firewood dudes coming this evening, so I'll point out the ones that they can start blocking right up, you know. And then what he doesn't have out of here, he can pull off that pile. So that's going to be my evening, you know. But some of these like really good. I mean, that one right there, for example, that's a really nice log. So is this one right here. If that guy was straight, he'd be a nice log. There's some firewood right there we can get knocked off. So I'm thinking on this one right here, their back is firewood. And their forward is firewood. But sometimes I gotta just not do it until they pick them out, because sometimes I get surprised since I don't see an X on it. Like, you'll see an X where they don't want it for sure, but there's no X on this section right here. So as much as I want to turn it to firewood and sell it, I'll wait until the log truck comes and picks out what they want. So what do I have for saws that are barred up and ready to roll? That's a good question. I have my toy saws on the four-wheeler right now. The felon saws, I have them in the shop, you know, blowing off the chips and sharpening the chains and all the stuff that you do in between jobs. But I have one saw that's not a toy, actually two saws. This 572 is not a toy, but it's got, in my mind, a toy bar and chain. It's got the Chinese chain on it. So I don't mind ruining that in the mud. Of course, that beast, I'll do some of that. But 2 or 3 tanks of that, I'm pretty much done. Got the 70. Got my 61. That's actually one that'll work pretty good in there. A little lighter, a little smaller. And then I did take the John thread and put on the big bucket spikes. So that is now configured for felling, and it has the X-Tough bar with C83, so I'm not going to put that in the mud for sure. And since the big monster has the Holzfforma chain, I got another loop. I think I'm just going to run the Chinese chain through this stuff. See how it deals with the mud. Yeah, I do get a kick out of their brand and, you know, the little for the working man. Because I got to tell you something. You put a little time on that saw, you're a working man. Fits pretty good.
saw right here does a good job. Gold chain, dirt, doesn't care. It's not oiling as much as I want, so I want to take the bar off and clean it out and make sure it's getting oil. But it just blasts through these logs. So here, it's got a job. You know, I'm going to use that saw a lot doing that kind of thing, especially as I get down into the bigger ones. That one's going to play a pretty important role. You got to run it back to back with like a 70cc saw to appreciate it. That thing's a beast. Well, it had a job and just lost it because it doesn't give oil to the bar. The bar lube is not working, so I got to pull it apart and see what failed in there. Other than that, that thing's running good. Started on the second pull. Well, pretty much done. And I've done from there all the way to where it is right now with that chainsaw in one loop of, I guess it was Oregon chain that I had hit with the grinder. So that has absolutely been a success, you know. And when working in tighter quarters like this, believe it or not, the 20-inch bar is an advantage. It really is. That little saw rips as well, so it doesn't hurt. So even with a dull chain, it gets through the log. So I'm going to make a short. I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the things I kind of do when I don't have a tractor is I use the wedge to jack the log up, you know. And I've got one cut left. I want to see if I can do a short on that little technique. I'm not sure I can because both the ends are high, so it may not show. Maybe I'll roll the log and then do it. But so this is another load, and already got the firewood sold. Logs that aren't going to the mill are going to go to a guy who sells firewood. So I finally made that connection with a person who I'm happy with. And one of the things I'm going to do is I have one of those $260 Farmer Tech or Holzfforma 372 clone power heads on the way. And like I said in my last video, I kind of want to get back to doing, you know, simple builds, but more durability tests. So what's going to happen to that saw is it's going to get into the hands of the guy doing the firewood and let him kill it. So, yeah, chain's a little bit loose. Maybe I'll sharpen that up before I go do a short. You know, I guess the other point that I want to make is, you know, the little guy out there, a one-man show or a two-man show, the chainsaw is cool, and if you like chainsaws, you can have a hobby that helps pay for itself. I certainly have. And of course, if you're also a person who loves to work in the woods, the next extension of doing that is a hobby, and chainsaws is a great way to kind of integrate motorsports and mechanical things with a business and a way of making a living. But one of the points I want to make, I've made for a long time, I don't know if it's made any impact on folks, is the actual felling part of this operation is actually very small. Yeah, you have to get them on the ground safely, but then you have to get them up out of the woods, topped, bucked, and then phone calls to get people to come and buy them. That's all part of the same operation. And yeah, that's a very important part, but it, on the time side of things, may not be the biggest piece, the actual felling. Things like bucking, you know, I spend more time bucking these than I did dropping them. So just something for folks to think about. And where I've come to at my advanced age is yeah, I've developed a saw build that works for me when I'm in the woods, and that's those 572s. And I'm kind of going through another development process to come up with a good bucking saw just to work on the landing. And there's two cases. There's one where I'm like this, I have to work in between the logs. You know, one thing I do want to get is a longer handled peavey. You know, I'm not quite as ambitious as I once was. And normally I'll do this with a tractor. I'll take the bucket and, you know, lift up the end of the log and go through and just buck them that way. But when they're all packed in like this, you know, sometimes that's not as much of a benefit. Sometimes just getting out here and getting to it like this is the best way. And so a little shorter bar, 24 or a 20 works. And yeah, you need some power. You know, this is a lot of hardwood. And ash cut's pretty easy, but I also do a lot of hard maple. This is almost strictly ash. I think there's like one maple in here, and one cherry, and one basswood. Yeah, see, there's the basswood right over there, the little holes in the bark. This is a cherry. It's a pretty nice stick, actually. You can see where I split it. It has a split up the middle, so it's not going to get me prime dollars, but I'll get something out of it. And this is beech. See that smooth bark? That wood is hard. Hard. So I do have 2 sticks of beech. And this here is basswood. And if you look, you'll see like little holes in the bark. And that's how you tell. As compared to ash, where it has a similar kind of a bark, but you don't have any of the holes in it. And again, if you look at the basswood, you'll see these little tiny holes. Somewhere in here there's a maple. I know there's a maple in here somewhere. Oh, I see it. It's over by the saw. It's interesting, he marked it like it was a sugar maple. That's maple right there. But I think it's a soft maple. We'll see. And yet again, it has a similar kind of a bark, but the little spaced, little wider pieces. Now he marked it right there and right here. And the reason he marked right there was he was assuming that that was tapped. But I think we're going to wait until we open it up before we make that decision. You know, I don't know if it was tapped, because I think it's a soft maple, not a sugar maple. We will see. Yep, got company. So let me see if I can do my short jacking up the slog and then get to the social hour.
This is called the rum and coke saw.
Rum and coke.
Well, sitting in a bar on Amazon bouncing around, and by the 3rd rum and coke I saw this for $2.14 chip, and I just hit submit order.
That's
A
amazing.
total waste. Again, it's all entertainment for me.
Runs good. Can't argue with the way it runs.
Well, I put a couple tanks through it yesterday. It's getting a little better. I got it set up for a firewood pile with this oddball 17-inch bar.
Why not? We got to run them.
Well, it's the same thing. I don't have like a shelf full of chains just to grab them anytime I want. I'm trying to make use. Like you said a few months back, these saws got to earn their keep. You got to get what work you can out of them.
That's it.
So that's what this is.
It's either that, it all goes to scrap pile.
Yeah.
That's a nice looking saw. Did it come with the big buck and spike or just one?
Just the one.
See, I spent.
You know, it might have been. I don't know. Maybe there's another one. They send you that bag.
Oh, because I spent. I just ordered one for $30 more than you spent, but it's got big bucket spikes.
Probably got a full wrap too.
No, it didn't have a full wrap.
Oh.
That one was another $30 or $40. So I wanted just to get the basic with the big spike so I can cut the bottom spike.
You see what I did on the decal?
That's
Other than
funny.
that, I got drawers full of decals.
It's actually a nice looking saw.
Yeah, that's one something different. I wouldn't have done it if it was orange.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just something stupid, really.
Well, it's earning its keep. So I'm going to keep wandering around looking for my glasses that I dropped somewhere.
Well, on the ground?
Probably. Just me being me. I'll probably find them with the camera and I'll step on them and go crunch.
Yeah, don't find it with your boots.
there. Turn off the camera. I wanted to run that Chicon saw a little bit.
Huh?
Wanted to get some run time with that Chicon saw, see what it does.
You gotta play with it.
Huh?
Play with it.
Take a couple of cuts. Boy, for $200 you're not beating this.
Huh?
For $200 you're not beating this, Bob.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna make a comparison. If that purple thing is, say, 119, and this is like $100 more. Yeah, for 214, there again, it's definitely worth what you pay for it, if not more.
Ugh. Smooth. It's not gonna win any drag races, but it cuts. Starts easy. 200 something bucks, say 250, say,
It's 214 shipped.
plus you gotta buy a bar and chain. So you're still under $300 and you got a saw that's that capable. How do you beat that?